What is up, guys? Welcome to the channel. Welcome to a new video. Last video I posted about one of my favorite training sessions on how to improve your FTP, which is this video right here. I'll leave a link down below in the description in case you guys want to go back and check it out after you watch this video. There's a lot of good info on there as well. That video got a lot of positive feedback and it seems that you guys really enjoy that type of content. So for today's video, I decided I want to take you guys along for an in-depth look at my entire cycling calendar from last year. We'll look at things like specific workouts I was doing, volume, intensity. We'll talk about how important fueling is. And more importantly, we'll talk about the mistakes that I made throughout the year so you guys don't have to do the same. We'll also look at how I went from being 220 pounds, which is the absolutely heaviest that I've ever been in my life, to about 155 pounds or so, and increase my power on the bike from less than 2 watts per kilo to just shy of 4.7 towards the end of the year as I moved my way through from category 5 into category 3. I also won many races along the way, like Swamp Classic, which is a stage race. I won the road race on Saturday from a solo breakaway, as well as a time trial that same afternoon. And I took 4th the next day on the crit, which was enough for me to take the overall home. I also won my first ever category 4 race from a solo breakaway, and I took the KOM jersey for the day as well. And if some of you might already know if you watched my videos before, in October 2023 I became Florida State Road Race Champion, which was the last A race for me. Now, as I mentioned before, it always wasn't perfect. My progress wasn't always linear, and we'll get into that in a little bit further into the video. But December of 2022, I decided to take on TrainerRoad, and for 6 months after that, my progress completely stalled out. I wasn't making any progress. It was very frustrating because you're putting all this hard work in and you're not seeing the improvements. Now, I'm not saying it's TrainerRoad's fault. We'll actually talk about exactly what I think was at fault for this. And guys, there's a lot packed into this little video, into this short video, so stick around. I promise you, you will not regret it. All right, guys, so let's start here with my Strava calendar. This is my first ever Strava ride, and you'll see here I wrote a bit and then I was just very inconsistent. Look at this, very inconsistent. And this was the same through 2019 and then 2020, just super inconsistent. And you'll see why here, why I preach for consistency so much. If you want to get better, before you worry about getting a $10,000 bike and a power meter and all this stuff, just ride your bike, guys. You'll see how many gains you can make by just riding your bike. So this is pretty much it. It's pretty much the same through 2019 and 2020. Now at the end of 2021, I do my first ever FTP test, which is this one right here. I think this gave me an FTP of like 220 watts or so. I don't believe this was accurate at all. This was a wheel-on trainer that I bought on eBay for like 50 bucks. And the way it read your power was by this sensor that was stuck to the trainer by a blocker. I'll put a picture on the screen if I can find it. So after that, though, I started doing some structure training on Swift. Regardless whether the power is accurate or not, because I was working indoors and using that same trainer, it was fine. It didn't matter if the power was actually accurate. But as you can see right here, no different. Same thing, I just fell right through. I just wasn't riding enough. Now, if we go to 2022 in March, this is when everything just completely changed for me. This week right here, I went super hard into it. I was super consistent. I was riding every week, big hours, 264 miles, 194, 212. Like I was just riding all the time, guys. And that's why I preach for consistency. So right here, I took an FTP test because I wanted to do a little bit more structure training, and I got a different trainer, which is, it was still a wheel-on trainer, but this one was a lot more accurate, and you'll see here in a second. So I do another FTP test after, I don't know, 2 months or so, and I get an FTP of 260 watts. Now we go back to my calendar here, and I just kept on doing a lot of just like Swift workouts. And then with this, I think just before Florida State Road Race Championship, I did another FTP test where I got an FTP of 303 watts. 303 watts, yeah, right there. And this was Florida State Road Race Champion. This is my first ever race, guys. I finished 3rd from a breakaway of like 6 of us, and I had some pretty solid numbers. I was on the breakaway pretty much since the beginning of the race. So for an hour 285, my first ever race, almost 300 for 30 minutes. Like this was my first ever race, guys. I was super happy with it. And at this point I was down to 162 watts. Now if we go back to my Strava calendar, I kept on training, and then I took another ramp test here This is the one that I got like 304 watts or so. And then just at the end in November here, I took another FTP test, which was, I believe, the last one. And this one is really important, and you'll see why here in a second. So on this one, I got 316 watt FTP, guys. So I went from being at 220 something in March to 316 at the end of the year in November 16. So huge gains, while also losing. I got down to 162 pounds. Now this one's really important. Keep this in mind and how quickly I was progressing, because unfortunately everything stalled out. September 2022, I started my journey with TrainerRoad, and at the same time I decided I wanted to lose some weight and get to 155 pounds. I have no idea why I set that goal for myself looking back at it, to be honest. I was at around 164 or so at the time, so I started using this app called MacroFactor, which is a macro calorie counting app, which at the same time gives you a predictive weight and a calorie expenditure, because it makes you weigh yourself every single day and then you input that weight into the app. This is where things started to go very wrong. If you look back, I was making huge gains super quick, only 6 months or so. So from March to the end of November, just staying consistent got me from 229 watt FTP up to 316. That is huge for such a short amount of time, while going from over 200 pounds to about 163 or so. So huge power gains with also incredible weight loss, all from just staying consistent, guys. This is why I preach consistency. I also took on some gym work, and I started a mid-volume sweet spot training plan. From here on, all the progress and all the gains completely stalled out. Because of the lack of knowledge from being so new and having no real coach or guidance, everything started to go wrong. I was just waking up every morning. I was waking up twice a week to do my workouts on the trainer before work, and I'll hit the gym on the afternoons. Then Mondays and Fridays were my days off, and I would do longer sessions on the weekend. I'm not gonna lie, guys, I was so miserable. In my head, I was just doing everything right. I'm so good. I'm counting my calories. I'm eating right. I'm not eating more than I need to. And then I would hear all the time, fuel for the work required, eat carbs. And I wasn't realizing that I was doing the same thing for months. I remember not wanting to wake up to do the workout, not being able to sleep to begin with, because, well, they just felt like I was just so nervous. The workouts were just so hard. I was miserable every single time. They just felt so hard. Now, one thing I have to say though, it never broke me. I was up every single morning, no matter what, day after day. I never skipped a single workout. No matter how bad I felt, how bad the workouts felt, I never skipped a single workout. And I was 100% consistent. I never skipped a workout to go out riding with friends or go on a group ride, and that's not something that everyone can do. And that is also where some people would get a benefit from having an actual coach who would have given me real human advice and share experiences, especially when you're so new to the sport. That would have saved me many months of stalled progress, and I would have been way more far along. So I guess that is a +1 for having a real coach. Now, March 17th, I took another RAM test, and I only got an FTP of 313 watts, which, if you remember back to November 16, so 4 months before this, I was at 316. So how is it possible that after taking on TrainerRoad for 4 months, my FTP had gone down 3 watts? I was very surprised by this and not very motivated, because if you look back, I was making such huge gains super quick. Only 6 months of consistency got me from 229 watt FTP to 316. Then I spent 4 months on TrainerRoad and I had a lower FTP. At this point, it was just so clear and so easy to blame TrainerRoad and say, oh, everyone is right. TrainerRoad sucks. It burned me out. I wasted 4 months and made 0 gains. TrainerRoad is just garbage. Well, I didn't give up. I trusted the process. I trusted their plans, their knowledge, and kept on training for my A race coming up, which was Florida State Crit Championships at the end of June. I did my build, I did my specialty phase, but nothing really changed. I just wasn't seeing gains like previously, and my performance on the day wasn't what I was expecting, only taking 4th place. So by now you're probably wondering, okay, so now you're sure that TrainerRoad does not work. You stopped using it and moved on. Well, not quite. What I did do though was I took a full week off after stays just to reset and rest up after a big build. But motivation was still at an all-time high, which was crazy. This was my first time ever taking a full week off with 0 training. After this week, I remember coming back to training and I felt so incredible, guys. I felt so incredible on the bike. I literally doubted my equipment's accuracy, guys, and I'm not exaggerating. It took me a bit of analyzing to get to the realization that the only thing that had changed in a week off was the fact that my body was fueled up and recovered from not exercising for a week. And if you remember back to when I said December 2022, not only did I started TrainerRoad, but I also started tracking my macros. Well, at this time I decided to cancel that subscription and delete the app completely from my phone. This is where the turning point of my season started, guys. I also fueled every single training session, even my endurance rides. Even if I was doing anything longer than 60 minutes, even if it was a recovery ride, I'll take in at least like 40 grams of carb. And that was the best decision I could have made. I was feeling so strong on the bike. It felt like cheating. I remember I was on the indoor trainer one day and I was trying to explain this to my fiance, and I had tears rolling down my face, guys, because there was no way this session, this VO2 session I was doing, should have felt that easy. I felt I just suffered so much for 6 months and made no real gains. I was just gutted. And it's funny because I had people laugh at me when they watch my Florida State Championship win video, where I broke in tears when trying to explain the race to the camera, and saying things like, "Oh, bro, it was just a Cat 4 race. It's not a big deal. Blah blah blah. You got to keep on moving down." Well, none of them knew what I went through and how much work I put in without seeing progress, but never quitting. I kept on working hard. They had no idea the dark places I went to for 6 months. The only person that really knew that was my fiance. And just seeing her there recording me and smiling just gave me so much joy I couldn't hold my tears back, because only she knew what I had gone through and how much hard work I put day after day for months to get to this point. So guys, don't ever let anyone shed on your accomplishments, regardless of how big or small, because they don't know what it means to you. They weren't there day after day to know what you had to do and sacrifice to accomplish that goal. So after I realized I was literally starving myself, I was in such a big energy deficit, guys, because I was not fueling my workouts, or simply I just wasn't eating enough outside of them for 6 months, because I was more focused on losing weight and a body image than fueling for performance. This is crazy, but I'm just gonna share it anyways. I remember I needed sugar so bad one day that I bought a pack of Oreos from a vending machine. I had one Oreo from the whole pack and carried the rest for over a week on my lunchbox, because in my head, this is bad food. I shouldn't be eating this. I made a mistake, and it just sounds so ridiculous, but in my mind, I was stronger than everyone else because I had total control of my mind and body. Now, after I made this realization, now let's go back and take a look at my TrainerRoad calendar real quick and see how my season changed after I came to the realization of what I was doing, and that my problem was always nutrition and not TrainerRoad burning me out, and I'm glad I did. All right, guys, so here we go. This is my TrainerRoad calendar, and I want you guys to keep an eye on this little trophy right here. This means personal record, and from here on is when, like I said, my season completely changed. I took that week off, and then I realized what I was doing. So here we got a personal record, and all this training that you're about to see right here was for Florida State Road Race Championships. So look at this, guys. First FTP bump, 322 watts. If you remember, I spent 4 months using TrainerRoad, and my FTP went down 2 watts rather than going up, so it was very frustrating. So here we go. After only 4 weeks back into training, couple of PRs, another PR right here, I get a bump of 300 to 322 watts FTP. I keep on training right here. Like I said, all this was for Florida State Road Race Championships. And then right here, this is I did a group ride right here. I get a PR. The next day after that, I do a threshold workout. And guys, this is literally on erg mode. I was not trying to overreach. I was not going for a PR. This was literally me just doing the prescribed workout by TrainerRoad, and then seeing that there was a PR on it at the end. Here I do another PR the next day on a threshold workout, and then I get my second FTP bump after 8 weeks, guys. Now I'm at 128 watt FTP. That same day I go and do my first ever category 4 race, which we'll take a look at right here. As I said, I went solo from minute 6, and I managed to take the KOM jersey, and I won the race solo. I did 314 watts normalized. This was not a flat course, and 270 watts raw. So then we'll go back to that, and I did a couple more races here, kept on training, same thing, just kept on training. Here I get my third FTP bump, guys, 325 after another about 4 or 5 weeks. And then right here I get another PR. I go and do a couple races. This was a group ride, I kept on training. I do my first ever category 3 race, which I finished 3rd at. Kept on training. I got like a 1 watt FTP bump here, which wasn't much. This was 6 gap, another PR on there. Kept on training, and then here I set another PR. I did a local time trial here, and then that weekend I went to Florida State Road Race Championships, which you'll get to see right here. And I broke away with about an hour in. It was just me and one other guy, and that took 317 watts normalized and 291 watts for an hour and 10 minutes to win that race. And at the end, I still had enough kick to beat to drop the other guy and come to the line solo, as you saw in the beginning of the video. And after that, guys, it was just PR after PR. It was just incredible. So here we go, another PR. This was a time trial, another local time trial, another PR there, another PR there. It just didn't stop. Another one right here, another one right here. It was literally like, you guys get the point by now. 2 more right there, another one right there. It just kept on going, guys. It was just incredible. With that being said, guys, I'll end the video right here with one last take, and that is to stay consistent, guys. Stay consistent, be patient, be responsible, and you will make huge gains. One last but super important thing, guys, if you're finding yourself in a similar situation to mine and you're scared to bring it up with anybody else, or simply just don't have anybody else to bring it up with, and you want to talk to somebody who actually went through this, please message me on IG. I'll put it on the screen so you guys can, or even on Strava, since they have private messaging now. And I hope there's a couple takeaways that you guys are able to use from this video that will help you on your own training in the future. And if that is the case, then a like and a subscribe is really, really appreciated. I'll catch you guys on the next one.